So let me catch my breath first. You'll have to forgive me for the harsh light and my sweaty self, लेकिन this is the only place in the house where I can get some privacy. मैं थोड़ी सी बैक स्टोरी दे रहा हूँ कि मैं ये काम शुरू क्यों कर रहा हूँ. For those you who are not interested, they can skip to this time, and for those you who are interested, देख लो. So I started a recommendation series last year. मुझे याद है मैंने क्लीन शेव कराई थी क्योंकि कैमरे के लिए अच्छा दिखना है. And then I released one episode and didn't get many views और मैंने छोड़ दिया. I'm just going to try to delve into some sub-genres and genres of cinema that I'm interested in. Basically, this is going to be me recommending movies to get you into a certain genre of cinema. ये जो genre, it could be like an actual genre like horror or action or something, or it could be something different like related to a certain film movement like the French New Wave, or it could be geographical like stuff to get you into Japanese cinema or Irani cinema or French cinema. And yeah, I just hope I just run into some fellow cinema lovers क्योंकि मुझे पाकिस्तान में इतने मिलते नहीं हैं. And I hope I can learn about new movies from you guys, and like अगर कोई ये बंदा वीडियो देखता है and he gets interested in any of the movies I recommend and he goes and watches any of those movies, I think I've done my job. Okay, so for the first episode of this thing, whatever this thing is going to be, मैं इसका title बाद में सोचूंगा. We're going to dive into Japanese cinema. So this is going to be 5 films to get you into Japanese cinema. मैं कोई specific time period या movement को target नहीं कर रहा. मैंने जितनी Japanese movies देखी हैं, और just to give you an overall overview, I'll just tell you about the movies I've seen, like the 5 films that will give you an idea of what Japanese cinema can offer and what it's like. भाई बहुत ज़्यादा गर्मी हो रही है, मैं नीचे जाके AC चला रहा हूँ. We'll continue the rest of the video in my room. I don't give a shit. The 5th movie on the list that I'd like to recommend is House, or as the Japanese pronounce it, House. It came out in 1977 and it's categorized as a comedy horror. Now that genre blend alone is something that people frown upon because it's very rarely ever done right. But anyway, a fair warning that this is the weirdest movie on the list. It's maybe even the weirdest movie that I'd ever recommend in any video. It's not just a story unconventional hai ya acting ajeeb hai, like the filmmaking techniques, like some of the transitions that they use and some of the things that they do with the film and the effects is something that I have never seen before in any film. So if you're into that kind of weird shit, like different weird out there shit, तो give this movie a watch. अगर आपको ज़्यादा unconventional चीज़ें अच्छी नहीं लगती, if you're looking for a more subtle conservative movie, then maybe this isn't for you. इस मूवी में सीन है जिसमें एक बंदा ढांचा बन के अगले बंदे को केलों का ढेर बना देता है, and by that time you've seen so much crazy shit in the movie that makes perfect sense to you. By the movie's logic, you're like, yes, that makes perfect sense. Now this movie isn't a staple of Japanese cinema or anything. It's not referred to as a classic or anything. Like, I wanted to include it on the list because it is just so fucking insane. Please give it a watch if you're into that kind of stuff. It may be a hard watch for people who haven't seen like weird experimental cinema, like it is just so much fun. It is such a colorful movie too, and just please give it a watch. Please give it a watch. Number 4 on the list is Love Exposure. Love Exposure is a film that came out in 2008. It's 4 hours long and it is fucking insane. Let me just hold on. Let me get the IMDb. Look at the plot synopsis on IMDb. A bizarre love triangle forms between a young Catholic upskirt photographer, a misandric girl, and a manipulative cultist.
Camera notes get the target on the road. So that target don't know who you're on the road.
It's a comedy, it's a drama, it's like a philosophical art house film. It is so many things packed into one, and by the time you're finished and that 4 hours is gone, you will feel like you've gone through like a lifetime with these characters. Those 4 hours just fly by, and it is just क्या बात है. Someone actually told me कि movie 4 घंटे की है, but the director wanted it to be 6 hours long. And when he saw the 4 hour cut, he was just so disappointed in the film. I've only seen 2 films from this director. The other one is Why Don't You Play in Hell. If you don't have enough time, like 4 घंटे, if you don't have 4 hours to spare to watch a movie, please go watch Why Don't You Play in Hell. Consider this an honorable mention or something, because that movie is 2 hours long and it is so much fun. It's an action comedy movie and it is just such a fun movie. अगर आपके पास 4 घंटे नहीं है, please go watch Why Don't You Play in Hell. अगर आपको वो पसंद है तो give Love Exposure a shot. Okay, number 3 on the list is Harakiri. Now, the top 3 slots on this list are dedicated to films of the Japanese golden age, like the 50s and 60s में जो movies आई थी that are considered to be the best of all time. So this is one of those films. Harakiri, if you don't know, Harakiri is a way to commit suicide. Well, I don't know if it's still a way to commit suicide in Japan. It used to be a way to commit suicide in Japan by samurais. Samurais used to do this thing where they took their swords and they disemboweled themselves. That's what Harakiri is. So the plot of this movie is a samurai shows up at a royal feudal lord's house, and he asks them to provide him with a place to commit or to perform Harakiri. And then they start asking him why he wants to perform Harakiri, and then the story goes on from there. And the situation and the things that are revealed through this conversation are just so heartbreaking and so unexpected. Performances are great. I don't know how to pronounce the actor's name. I'll try. Tatsuya Nakadai. He is just so great in this movie. When he talks, you just don't want him to stop talking. मुझे जापानी की समझ नहीं आती, but the command in his voice when he speaks, it just engages the audience so much. It is beautifully shot. It is beautifully directed. It is just an all-around, just a perfect movie. It's been on my favorites list for quite a while now. It's a perfect movie in my opinion. Okay, number 2 on the list is Ran. I'm not sure if you pronounce it Ran or not, but Ran. It is directed by Akira Kurosawa. It came out in 1985. Akira Kurosawa, if you don't know, he's the guy who directed Seven Samurai, the movie जो IMDb top 250 की list पे है, which you said you would watch but you never got around to watching. Seven Samurai, a lot of people consider Seven Samurai Akira Kurosawa's best film. Like my favorite is Ran by far. Ran is an adaptation of Shakespeare's King Lear. Akira Kurosawa does this interesting thing where the premise of the play is entirely the same, like the setting is in like feudal Japan with samurais and feudal lords, Japanese feudal lords and everything, and that is just, it's such an interesting premise. Ran is by far my favorite. It's a long movie. It's I think 2 hours and 45 minutes, around 2 hours and 45 minutes. Honestly, आपको run time का पता भी नहीं लगता. It is just so engaging, and the performances are great. The color palette of this movie, अगर आपको ये क्या नाम है इसका, अगर आपको वेस एंडरसन की movies अच्छी लगती है ना, with all the colors and the color palette and stuff, please go watch Ran. Akira Kurosawa used to be a painter, और like पहले वो black and white movies करता था, but then when he came on to doing like color movies, he implemented all his knowledge of like colors and color theory and everything into his art, into his movies, and it really shows. The shots in these movies are iconic, they are beautiful, the performances are great, the story is engaging, and it is just an epic movie that you do not want to miss. Okay, number one on the list, Tokyo Story. Tokyo Story came out in 1953. It is directed by Yasujiro Ozu, who was like one of the directors who was on the forefront of like the Japanese golden age of cinema. Tokyo Story is just like, you know how Kurosawa is, he makes these epic, large scale movies with like armies and like well choreographed battles. Yasujiro Ozu is like on the other side of the spectrum. He makes micro level movies that are pertain to individuals. A lot of his movies deal with like the parent children dynamic. A lot of his movies tackle, subjects like family life and stuff like that, and Tokyo Story is not an exception. The plot of Tokyo Story is very simple. Two parents, elderly parents who live in another town, come to visit their children in Tokyo. It's like, it's just such a simple movie. It like मैं आपको ये spoiler तो नहीं है, but like there's not like some sort of big plot point that happens or anything. It's just a family going about their lives, right? And it's just such a simple premise and such a simple movie, and it had such a big effect on me personally. I've cried watching movies before, right? I have cried. Lekin this movie had me weeping uncontrollably for almost like 15 to 20 minutes. There's like a turn of events that happens in the movie, I'm not going to spoil it, but like for 15 to 20 minutes I just kept on weeping and crying, and it emotionally devastated me, this movie. Okay, if you're into like if you want to hate yourself, if you want to cry your eyes out, please go watch this movie. It is a masterful work of cinema. A lot of people consider it to be the best of all time, and it's certainly up there for me too. Like, please go give this movie a shot. Like, no matter if you're into movies at all, like number 5 on this list was Houseu, right? And that's a movie I wouldn't recommend to everybody, because that's like a very niche movie. जो मतलब it's not for everybody, right? Like, in Tokyo Story is a movie that I think every person needs to watch at least once in their lifetime. It is just, it's so realistic. It is devastating in how realistic it is. It is masterful in its directing. The performances are great. I just have no words. Like, I am just so impressed with this movie. Please go give it a shot. And like, let me know in the comments, and let me know, मुझे मैसेज कर देना यार, if you, अगर आपको इधर से कुछ भी इंटरेस्टिंग लगे, and if you go and watch any of these movies, अगर आपको कोई पसंद आई, अगर आपको कोई शिट लगी और आपको लगे मैंने आपका टाइम ज़ाया किया, तो प्लीज़ उससे भी मैसेज कर देना, ताकि I can keep this going. Okay, thank you, goodbye.